An investigation is underway tonight after a Newburgh woman says blank ballots were delivered to her house.
She says she found these state ballots inside an Amazon package.
Secretary of State Shenna Bellows has consistently shown she is willing to put partisanship over the safety and security of Maine elections, even going as far as telling President Trump to, quote, go jump in the Gulf of Maine.
Lawsuit or not, Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows is standing her ground.
I say it again today, go jump in the Gulf of Maine.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my peep out. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Y'all, just a few days ago, a week ago maybe, we brought you a story about Maine, how they are resisting. They are saying no to the federal government that wants information about Maine's voter rolls. Now, I brought you this story and that video did really well, so thank y'all for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. I'm going to ask you to do the same for this one. But you know, I kind of jumped out there a little bit because on the thumbnail, and I'm going to put that here. On the thumbnail, I put like Maine voter fraud or something like that. You'll see the thumbnail on the screen. And I was like, man, this is kind of risky because, you know, they're hiding their voter rolls. And, you know, what do they have to hide? Privacy? I don't know, because they thought maybe that the administration might want to do some intimidation of the voters. I don't know. But the federal government has a vested interest in knowing that all of the states have clean voter rolls, right? So I jumped out there with this. In my opinion, I was like, ooh, this is kind of, you know, I'm jumping out there, but I'm like, let's do it. Because what do they have to hide? Well, wouldn't you know it? This week, a woman in Maine, apparently, y'all, now I'm just reporting, y'all are going to see the major news networks, they're carrying this. A woman in Maine supposedly in her Amazon package got like a stack of like ballots. In Maine, got a stack of ballots. And now I feel a little bit vindicated. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I was on to something with that thumbnail, right? I'm like, okay, maybe I jumped out there, but maybe the universe came and backed me up a little bit. So we're going to take a look at the news report on these Maine ballots that apparently showed up in this woman's Amazon package. How does that happen? And then we're going to take a look at a letter. Now, this is causing all kinds of questions, as you can imagine. All kinds of questions. We're going to take a look at that, and we're going to take a look at a response from lawmakers in Maine, because this is a problem, y'all. So anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and hop right into it. Let's take a look at this news report. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com, or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
An investigation is underway tonight after a Newburgh woman says blank ballots were delivered to her house.
She says she found these state ballots inside an Amazon package. This comes, of course, as Mainers getting ready to vote on question 1, which would require voter ID and also make other changes to Maine's elections.
Political reporter Jackie Mundry has this story.
A woman in Newburgh says when she went to her front steps to pick up an Amazon package, it looked like it had already been opened and was retaped. So she took a photo of it, expecting items inside to be damaged. She found the items she ordered, as well as hundreds of blank Maine ballots and items she did not order. She says she called her town office right away and handed those ballots over. This comes just weeks before Mainers will be voting on a citizens referendum that would require voter ID and make changes to the state's current absentee voting laws. In statements from Republican lawmakers and the voter ID campaign, they're urging Mainers to vote yes on question 1 next month. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows has repeatedly said that Maine elections are safe and secure. We went to her office today, though she declined to speak on camera. In a statement, the office says these allegations are serious and being investigated by law enforcement. In Augusta, I'm Jackie Mundry for Maine's Total Coverage.
So in response to this, you have the Maine legislative Republicans, apparently, y'all, I'm looking at this letter, I'm putting it on the screen. Apparently, they wrote a letter to Pam Bondi and Kash Patel asking for an investigation into this, saying, today a Maine-based media outlet reported that 250 official state election ballots were found in an Amazon package delivered to a resident in Maine. The individual who received the package alerted the Newburgh town office, and law enforcement reported to the Newburgh home to retrieve the ballots. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows has consistently shown she is willing to put partisanship over the safety and security of Maine elections. Now, y'all, pause. If you want to know what he's talking about, this Shenna Bellows, if you want to know, I'm going to loop into our report on her from last week, okay? Because she is telling the federal government, go jump in the Gulf of Maine. Like, she literally says that, like, I'm not giving you the voter rolls. So that's what they're talking about here. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows has consistently shown she is willing to put partisanship over the safety and security of Maine elections. She has used her office to refuse compliance with the Department of Justice, even going as far as telling, oh, here they're going to say it, even going as far as telling President Trump to, quote, go jump in the Gulf of Maine in response to routine requests for voter registration data under the National Voter Registration Act. Given Secretary Bellows' continued refusal to comply with federal law and her complete lack of transparency, we request the Department of Justice immediately open an investigation into the security of Maine's elections. The discovery of the ballots comes slightly over a month before Election Day and only days before the absentee voting begins. The Secretary of State's office has not provided any details of who will be conducting the investigation into this matter, including whether the investigation will be conducted by an external agency. There are also federal criminal violations that may have occurred, including, but not limited to, mail fraud and election fraud. Therefore, we request the FBI open an investigation into potential violations of federal law. The security of our elections is of the utmost importance, and Maine citizens deserve to know our elections are safe, secure, and transparent. On behalf of Maine's legislative Republicans, we thank you for your attention to this matter. Wow, they're using Donald Trump. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, y'all, listen, I'm seeing this on Facebook. This is where I see this letter, okay? I believe it's genuine and authentic. But some of these Facebookians, some of these Facebookers, some of these Facebook folk, they think that this might have been a, how should we say, a plant, a stunt, a ruse. They think it might be somebody sent this lady these ballots on purpose in order to call attention to the insecurity of Maine's ballot or a voter's election situation, or that it may be meant to influence public opinion or professional or governmental activity in one way or another as it relates to Maine's voter activity. Someone even says convenient timing. Vote yes on one must be failing. Let's take a look and see what Maine Proposition 1 is. Maine Question 1. Require voter photo ID and change absentee ballot and drop box rules initiative. Okay, so this person in the Facebook world is saying, maybe this is something that somebody done did in order to influence this question 1 in the direction of, I guess you would say yes, I don't know. Okay, in the direction of in the direction of voting to require photo ID and changing absentee ballots rules, etc. Okay, so I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. I'm just trying to bring y'all different perspectives. Y'all know that I like thinking about these questions. Y'all know I like thinking about the different angles. But y'all, one thing that is absolutely certain is that this Miss Bellows, this Secretary of State in Maine, she done said go jump in the Gulf of Maine. She done told the people we not giving over. Y'all, this is my Jasmine Crockett impression. She done told them people we not giving over our voter rolls. She done told them people we not giving over our voter rolls. So let's go ahead and loop into that report so you can see kind of some more of the background. This is what caused me to say voter fraud in Maine in the first place when I jumped out there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Secretary of State Shenna Bellows receiving a lawsuit from the federal government. She's being sued, or Maine's being sued over this refusal. Let's take a look at that and how she said, yo, go jump in the Gulf of Maine. We're not complying. So this is also a currently ongoing and developing situation. Let's take a look.
The Department of Justice now suing Maine again, this time for not providing voter registration information as requested by the federal government.
Bonnie Bishop joins us live tonight. So Bonnie, what is the DOJ saying about this lawsuit?
The DOJ alleges that Maine has violated several voting laws, and this is all about information that Secretary Shenna Bellows has denied access to twice now.
Go jump in the Gulf of Maine.
That was Secretary of State Shenna Bellows in July. Tonight, she's doubling down on her decision to withhold voter registration records from the federal government, citing privacy concerns. The DOJ filing a lawsuit, again trying to get that information, including birth dates, addresses, and partial social security numbers. The DOJ saying states cannot pick and choose which federal laws they will comply with, including voting laws. The DOJ also claims Maine and Oregon gave identical information to a private organization, but the Secretary of State says that's a lie. Bellows saying tonight, Maine has some of the best elections in the nation. It is absurd that the Department of Justice is targeting our state when Republican and Democratic secretaries all across the country are fighting back against this federal abuse of power, just like we are.
As Secretary of State, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, the laws of the nation, and the laws of the state. And I will fight to protect voter privacy under the law. So I'm here to say that they've overstepped.
The lawsuit comes after the RNC filed a complaint with the Justice Department last week with similar concerns. Now, Maine is a part of over 30 federal lawsuits. That includes this one that was filed today. We know that the DOJ has filed 2 lawsuits against the state.
So that piece lets on, I think, a little bit to just how feisty she got. But take a look at this news clip, y'all. This lady, she's running for governor. So I guess she has to make a name for herself, get feisty, to try to get people to see that she's a fighter. Take a look at this, y'all. I guess this is just the way it is now. Like, you just have to be rude. You have to be somewhat confrontational. So, yeah, let's take a look.
Lawsuit or not, Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows is standing her ground.
I say it again today. Go jump in the Gulf of Maine.
It's a quote that made headlines when Bellows first said it in July, but she says it actually comes from the former Secretary of State in Mississippi. When voter registration rolls were requested back during the Trump administration's first term, Delbert Hosemann told the feds to jump in the Gulf of Mexico. Bellows says it furthers her point that Maine is not alone, and in fact is among several other states like New Hampshire and Pennsylvania that have also refused to release the data.
So it is strange, it is not normal that they are targeting just Maine and Oregon with these lawsuits.
She says she believes every state is clearly protected in Article 1 of the Constitution, which gives states primary authority over elections. However, Bellows, who is running for governor as a Democrat, says there are other ways to do that, and her office has already provided the DOJ with detailed reports that can prove Maine's election integrity. But she's firm in her belief that releasing private information is an overreach and possibly politically inspired.
And so if they can target me because I'm a Democrat, they could target voters because of their political persuasion. And that's yet one more reason why we do not share sensitive personal information with the Department of Justice.
So your girl, Janet Mills, she weighed in on this controversy. And here it says, Janet Mills accuses Trump administration of government by intimidation. Governor Janet Mills accused the Trump administration on Friday of engaging in government by intimidation as it seeks detailed information about voters and food stamp recipients in Maine. Earlier this week, the Department of Justice sued Maine and Secretary of State Shenna Bellows over her office's refusal to share complete copies of the state's voter registration files. The DOJ says it needs the data as well as other information to ensure the state is accurately maintaining its list of registered voters and to protect election integrity. Mills, who is a former attorney general, says she is confident that Attorney General Aaron Frey will successfully defend the state against the DOJ lawsuit. Mill pointed to a California judge's decision this week that the Trump administration cannot withhold federal dollars from states, including Maine, that refuse to hand over the Social Security numbers and other personal data of food assistance recipients. Why do they need all that data? Mills said in Belfast, where she was touring several businesses. It's unreasonable, it's oppressive, administratively oppressive, and it's just an invasion of property. It's government by intimidation, and we won't let it happen. So that's what your girl, Janet Mills of Maine, has to say about sharing that data. The data about people who are voting in federal elections. That's what she has to say about sharing that data with the federal government. So yeah, y'all, there you have it. These ballots showed up in somebody's Amazon package. Was it a plant? Was it a plan, a ruse, what do you want to call it? You get it, right? Where you do this in order to attract attention to what you believe is a problem, to sway public opinion, to get some movement happening. Is it to influence people for main question 1 as it relates to requiring IDs for voting, etc.? Or was this just was this real fraud that's happening, or an honest mistake? Let me know what you think. This is what I'm gonna put in my community post as well. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments, y'all. Before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. And for my people with the retirement, y'all go down, click that first link in the description, Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com. Get the information. Y'all, I'm about to check the price of gold right now. Right now, right here. I'm checking the price of gold. Y'all can hear me typing. Oh my gosh. I didn't know this. $3,900 per ounce. I just told y'all a few weeks ago it was at $3,600. I just told y'all just a few weeks before that was at $3,200. It's about to go past $4,000. If you invested, congratulations, you rich. Okay? If you didn't, y'all, listen. Talk to my people at Augusta Precious Metals, 844-651-8334. I want to thank y'all for watching. Love y'all. We'll see you back in the next one.